Welcome back. We're at the Vista Lab, and today I want to show you a few samples of wire sculpture that I had here, and maybe some of the reasons why it is important to study. So here's a few samples I have. I did show this particular one in the introduction video because it was a sample I made from a hand. And this is one of those examples that started out as just a basic outline. Somebody did that. They just made an outline of a hand. And I'm like, well, that's pretty flat. They're like, well, can you do better? Sure I can. So I just started manipulating the wire, trying to get a little more roundness to it, and it's somewhat convincing. Some other samples here are this great tree which utilized some different gauges of wire. This one intentionally has a swing on it. It has some loose joinings so it can move. This is an absolutely stunning example of what you can do with wire as far as structural stability. This one stands on 2 feet. The feet have great big claws. It has some counterweights. It's well balanced. This is an exceptional example of what wire sculpture could be, and it deserves to be recognized. So here's another example of why we study working with wire, because as we saw in the Imagineering episode, wire can be used as an armature for a different type of sculpting. This particular sculpture uses oil-based clay. It doesn't dry out. This sculpture is about 12 years old. Okay, it is made with an oil-based clay. There's a lot of dust on it. But if I heated this up, it can still be worked. But how does it stand? Well, it has an armature. There's wires going all through it so that it can have these thin appendages. Finally, I have this example of a work in progress. It may not be a wire, but you can think of it as a really thick wire. This armature will serve as a guide for, do you know what it is? It's a crypt arm from the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. Now this also leads me to another point I want to make about why we draw so much in this class. And we draw in scale, and we draw in different angles. Because in order to create this accurate reproduction, I had to study the piece. And I had to study it from the side view, from the front view, from 3/4 view, any source that I could get. What I ended up doing is making scale drawings, 1-to-1 scale. I don't know if you can make that out too well, but this is a front view, so I understood how to make the plaque, and I understood where the drapery would go. Now the side view serves quite a bit differently. In the back there, you can see the example of a 1-to-1 scale drawing inside view of this piece. So I can check my sculpture to my plans and my 1-to-1 scale elevations. These crowns are part of the sculpture as well. Ultimately, I'm probably going to make this out of metal, but before I spend so much time working on something in metal, I want to make sure I understood how to cut the pieces. So check it out, a prototype. See, this stuff is usable.
Durch des Himmels trächtige Blau.